It's showtime.
I just keep on having all these strange thoughts.
Final Destination was a horror film directed by James Wong that revolved around a group of high school students and their hot teacher who narrowly escape a catastrophic plane crash after one of them has a premonition of the disaster moments before it's set to take place.
I'm telling you, I'm getting the f*** off, and there's a reason why I'm getting the f*** off.
Oops, wrong clip. Hold on. Their survivor's guilt morphs into fear of dying as they realize death itself is coming to claim them one by one. The central question the plot poses is one of fate versus free will. Can these characters defy their predetermined outcomes?
It ain't my time.
Or are they simply helpless victims of an inescapable destiny? Over a series of redundant sequels, the answer becomes more and more clear. Death is an unavoidable force, thus solidifying this franchise as conclusively unbeatable. Imagine my surprise when I stumbled upon a collection of how-to-beat videos attempting to tackle this you-can't-beat franchise.
Yeah, no, unacceptable, honestly. Something's gotta be done this time. This is war, holes. Hasta la vista, scabies. Wait, hold on. A gun. I have a way better idea. That little peanutty buddy bar should have stayed in his lane. Shucks, I wonder what this log's ejection button I had custom installed does. Oh, duh, I remember now. Beat this motherfucker!
And have a damn good day!
Today on Strange Thoughts, you better buckle up if death allows you to, because I'm going to hit you guys with the truth by addressing the tips they provide and myth-busting each one into oblivion.
Oh shit! Car, you dick!
Bonjour. Alex Browning and 40 of his classmates are about to board Flight 180 to Paris. Unfortunately, Alex is terrified of flying and the dirty kid in French class he buys Xanax off of forgot to come. He does that thing you do when you're super anxious where you create a big deal in your head about pointless little things, like when he and his best friend Todd are taking a pre-flight number 2 and John Denver comes on through the airport speaker. That dude died in a plane crash, which must mean I will too. By the time they start boarding, he's practically sweating buckets. Todd's brother George tries to calm his nerves by pointing out a disabled man and a baby.
Be a f***ed up god to take down this plane. A really f***ed up god.
Seems someone hasn't read the Old Testament. Right before takeoff, Alex gets major heartburn. That's the least of his problems though. Despite the pre-flight number 2, come takeoff, Alex goes number 2 in his pants. A celebratory wave is quickly stifled by turbulence. Then comes the calm, and then the storm. Alex's worst nightmare becomes a reality. This plane is going down, repeating in his head over and over, I should have taken Spanish. I should have taken Spanish. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, Alex. Woulda, coulda. Wait, Alex comes to, in his seat, very much alive and terrified and confused. That horrible disaster was a premonition of what's about to come. How to beat logic number 1. Commit a serious felony. We're first told to focus on getting everybody off the plane. And how to beat's brilliant solution, you ask? Make a bomb threat. Are you serious, Clark? Come on, guy. First of all, under federal law, Title 18, Section 844E, making a bomb threat, even as a joke, can get you 10 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. That's just for making the threat. So right out of the gate, you're already facing federal charges. If you do that, one of two things will happen. One, the plane will still take off after an inspection delay, and when that motherfucker explodes, they'll bury you beneath the jail. The only other outcome here is they do evacuate the plane, but then what? I mean, you didn't save anyone. It was still everyone's destiny to die on that thing. When it's only you and 6 others that get off the plane, it's not too complicated figuring out the order in which death's coming back around for you. Imagine trying to decipher who's next if 280-something people are involved. It would be impossible. Alex's post-premonition meltdown doesn't only land himself off of the plane. The jock, Carter's thrown off after he tries to swing on him, and of course his girlfriend Terry is quick to follow after him. Miss Luton, the hot teacher, and Larry, the French one, scurry off to make sure everything's copacetic, as does the best friend Todd when advised to by George. Clear, the outcast, voluntarily gets off because, well, speaking of getting off, she's wet for Alex. Last and certainly least is the try-hard Billy, who, like me, couldn't even tell you how he landed himself off of that plane with the others. They allow Larry back on the plane while the rest of the Breakfast Club are forced to watch their classmates depart on the trip of a lifetime. A lifetime cut short, that is.
There they go. Here we stay.
Carter is super pissed. He and Alex nearly come to blows when... Yeah, turns out Alex was right. It's hard to process for everyone, Alex included. While waiting in a small room for their families to arrive, the FBI pays them a visit, insisting they ask each of them some questions. How to beat logic number 2. Tell the truth. This how to beat video acknowledges no one really, especially the FBI, would believe your premonition story, but advises you to be completely honest regardless. No, okay, if you're gonna do anything in this moment, telling the truth and lying should both be off the table. You cross your arms, refuse eye contact, and tell them you want to talk to your lawyer. Alex tries the whole honesty thing here, and all it does is sketch these agents out more than they would be had he not said a word. Their families finally arrive, and it's quite the heartstrings moment. Mostly, anyway. When we met Todd's dad at the beginning of this movie, he seemed like a charming, caring father who also had a great deal of love for Alex.
Alex? Yes. You take care of him. I will.
Suffice to say, that love went down in flames along with that plane. At the memorial held for those who died, it's obvious he's not the only one with fragile feelings towards Alex. Everybody except Clear seems to be less than a fan of the hero of this story. That being said, Todd insists the distance he's keeping has less to do with him than it does his dad. Come nightfall, this movie shows its age when Alex relies on a Penthouse magazine to release some tension. A peeping owl disrupts his moment of healing, so Alex throws the magazine at it, only the fan near his window tears his nudie mag up. A small piece of one of the pages floats through the air like Forrest Gump's feather and lands on Alex's lap. He holds it out confused and anxious because it spells out his best friend's name. How to beat logic number 3. Don't just hang there. While Alex is cleaning up his X-rated mess, Todd is knocking out his pre-bed bathroom routine and inadvertently assisting death in setting his demise in motion. He opens the shower curtain and begins removing garments from a clothesline, and is this not completely odd to anyone else? Todd ends up slipping on a carefully placed puddle and falls forward where the retractable clothesline shakes loose and violently wraps itself around the poor dude's neck. If that's not enough, in his thrown fit of panic, he knocks over a shampoo bottle that turns the floor of the tub into a slippery pit of doom. Try as Todd might, he can't escape the chokehold or grab hold of the scissors that are just out of reach, which could cut the line. The How to Beat video implies Todd could have gotten out of this unexpected nightmare by very specifically pushing up on the faucet and using his pants to, prevent slipping so he could get the leverage to unwind the cord. What the hell does any of that mean at all?
Come on, don't bullshit me.
The bottom line is, Death knew what it was doing with what it had to work with. If you're gonna give How to Beat advice pertaining to Todd's death, instead of trying to make Play-Doh out of dog shit, you gooflaboofs should have simply said, make sure you always close the lid to your shampoo, conditioner, and body wash bottles after using them. Or how about just stick to using a washer and dryer? Alex, cartoon runs over to Todd's home a pinch too late, and if Todd's dad wasn't a fan anymore before tonight, you can probably imagine the vehement hatred pulsating through him now. Before he dips out of there, Alex spots not just his FBI pals that are more suspicious of him by the minute, but Clear as well. Curious as to what her deal is, the following morning, he pays her a visit. He asks her why she was at Todd's house, and she changes the subject. They talk about the peculiarity of the FBI being there for a moment, then he asks again, and again, she changes the subject. She, made an abstract shrine statue of him, and he doesn't run away as fast as he can. Clear says it represents how he makes her feel, and he doesn't run away as fast as he can. She tells him she was at Todd's house because she could feel Alex. Yeah, Clear is basically the human embodiment of these Final Destination How to Beat videos. You come to them seeking answers, and the ones they provide either don't make a lick of sense or are of no value, or an awkward mix of both. Speaking of which, How to Beat logic number 4. A totally impossible suggestion. The How to Beat video references Todd dying as definitive proof death itself is coming after all 7 of them, and advises you to force everyone to split into pairs from here on out, so that whoever is next will have someone at their side to save them. If the you here's implying yourself inside of this situation from the perspective of the main protagonist, again, except for Clear, Alex is seen less like a messiah, more like a pariah that nobody wants to get close to. As convenient as it would be to hatch any sort of survival plan you can enact with the snap of your fingers, life does not work that way. Good luck convincing Carter to do what you say, or Terry to without Carter's blessing, or your teacher who's absolutely terrified of you.
Don't talk to me, you scared the hell out of me.
Or Billy, who is just Billy. We're 4 for 4 thus far on advice nobody can set into motion or benefit from, but to be fair, what advice on beating something can there actually be when it pertains to something you can't beat? Alex admits he can't help wonder if Todd was simply the first to go, and wishes he could talk to him one more time to get a definitive answer as to what's going on. Clear takes this arguably way too literally, and off her suggestion, the two end up in the morgue. They saunter into Todd's death dorm room and realize they forgot the fucking Ouija board when in walks Candyman. Alex tries to introduce himself, but Mr. Bloodworth already knows who he is. He points out the cuticle lacerations on Todd, which signifies Todd defensively pulled at the clothesline. To Alex, that means what happened was indeed an accident, but
in death, there are no accidents, no coincidences, no mishaps, and no escapes.
Huh, well ain't that a bitch? Alex poses the question, if one's able to figure out death's design, are they then able to cheat it? But Mr. Bloodworth tells him he already did the second he stepped off that plane, and now death will stop at nothing to correct its plan. He recommends that rather than focus on how to beat death, Alex should concentrate on figuring out the order in which they'll meet their demise. As Alex and Clear go to make their exit, Mr. Bloodworth leaves them with these parting words.
I'll see you soon.
The following morning at a cafe, Alex and Clear revisit the idea of death gunning for them off the notion they were meant to die on that plane and are still meant to die now. He mentions signs pointing to death that are less, no pun intended, clear than say a premonition, but still blatant enough to notice. She says nah, and he says yeah. Their first disagreement, how cute. But as she calls him bat crazy in a roundabout way, Alex is given another smidgen. It's a bus reflected off the cafe windows, only there's no bus at all. No bus yet, anyway. Their Scooby-Doo detective meeting / sorta date maybe turns into an awkward survivors reunion. Seems despite living here her entire life, Miss Luton is a movin'. As far as Carter's concerned, all because of Alex. As things start to get heated, Terry shouts out, "She's had enough! They should be grateful they're still alive. She is going to live her second shot at life to the fullest. She is going to get hit by a bus." How to beat logic number 5.
Roll for error. Mark this spam. Message couldn't load.
I was surprised, yet not at all, to find their advice pertaining to Terry's death was nowhere to be found. They simply leave it at, it was just her time. But the title of the video was how to beat every death in Final Destination. And the every death portion was in all caps, and meh, whatever. I will say this though. Terry's death really shines a light on the lack of merit the pairing survivors up advice was. I mean, here they were, all 6 of them in the same location. Alex just saw the bus sign minutes prior, and death itself, that sneaky devil, still managed to slip in and grab her without any opportunity to do anything about it. Yes, as a unit, there will be moments where assisting in the intervention of death can and will occur, but this is short-term hassle in a situation begging for a long-term solution. You gotta think deep and bigger picture-like, and you have to feel confidently justified in the subject matter you cover, or you shouldn't cover it at all. Alex spends the rest of the day and evening commiserating, while also ignoring call after call from Clear. That's what she gets, I suppose, for questioning the psychic wizard god that is Alex Browning. Local news gives Alex the information he's been so desperate to attain. While breaking down the reason as to why Flight 180 went down, an infographic displaying the damage path helps Alex determine that the order in which death is coming back around for them is the same order they would have died on that airplane. Seems Miss Luton is next in line. How to beat logic number 6. Commit an even more serious felony. Mckay, this how to beat video advises you to now kidnap one of the other survivors and permanently lock them up in a death-proof box with only food and water so that you can go on living longer than death would like. I'm just gonna simply say don't do that and move on. Poor Miss Luton is pacing around on the phone, a depressed, paranoid wreck, when she looks out her window and spots our buddy Alex being a creepy little voyeur. Luton does what I and any sane person would do and immediately phones those FBI agents who pick him up and take him in for immediate questioning.
Get in the car.
While he incriminates himself rather than demand a lawyer, Miss Luton is unknowingly playing directly into Death's hand.
Can you promise me that no one else is going to die?
No, I can't.
Dude.
How to Beat Logic, number 6. I don't even know what to title these anymore. How's... more of the same bull. The vodka leak causes some serious damage, enough to cause smoke to rise from the monitor. And then the monitor explodes. From that explosion, a shard of glass from the screen lodges into Luton's neck. Simultaneously, the agents couldn't hold Alex, so he's on his way back to her house. And on the way, he potentially sees another sign of things to come. A trail of fire has now erupted from vodka spillage on the floor. Its journey ends at the bottle she left open and... This is so not Luton's night. Luckily, there's a towel above her on the countertop she could use to... Damn it. Why don't you hit that like and subscribe button, then turn your post notifications on if you hate it when that happens. Alex makes it to her house too late to be a hero here, and she stares up at him like, what in the f*** even are you? Oh, the oven blows up and a chair falls onto the knife in her chest, and Death's really having a blast with this one. Alex pulls the knife out of her. It's like the goof wants to go down for all of this. Billy happens to casually late-night bike ride past her home just in time to see Alex hurry out the door right before the entire house blows up. The How to Beat video chastises Luton for not knowing she's next, arguing that if she knew Death was coming for her, she'd be less careless and not mix hot and cold into a mug, which can cause them to crack. That's like pointing a finger at a blind kid and saying they could see better if they weren't blind. Luton couldn't have possibly figured out she's next here. I mean, Alex just now found that out. I swear to God, it's like you guys sat down and said, how should we best not explain how to beat things? They say when she discovers the monitor's fried, all she has to do is unplug it. But the damn thing explodes within seconds of her discovering the smoke. They call her out for pulling the shard out of her neck, but that piece of glass isn't what kills her, and blood would pour out of a wound like that regardless. They say, and I quote, "For God's sake, leave the towel there." But she is bleeding profusely, could really benefit from it, and has no clue it's rested on top of knives. Their quote-unquote advice comes from a place of hindsight. Things one might do after the fact, fully aware of exactly how things are going to unfold and fall apart. So basically, their advice effectiveness is contingent on people first having a premonition of what's to come. Lastly, they mock her for not calling 911. But besides the fact that her neck wound punctured her vocal cords, with every terrifying, brutal thing that happens without pause, reaching her phone is not an option she has here. If it was, she would've. She proved that with how hastily she hit up those FBI agents the moment she saw Alex standing outside. Speaking of the FBI agents, they end up at Clear's house to inquire about Alex's current whereabouts. But she tells him Alex hasn't talked to her since she refused to believe his cult-like theory on death.
Here's my card. Toll-free number.
Later in the night, Clear links up with Carter and Billy to convince them they should go grab Alex.
Because he knows which one of us is next.
She wouldn't know he knows that, though. Once he's in the car, Alex plays hard to get about divulging who's next on Death's hit list. But it's clear to everyone at this point Death is after them.
I should have felt up Tammy in the pool that time.
Carter, convinced it's him, totally loses it. He refuses to go out on Death's terms and drives recklessly, like somebody with a death wish. How to Beat Logic, number 7. Tell them who's next to die. The How to Beat video argues Alex is dead wrong here, that you should, without question, divulge to the others who's next in line. They claim if you don't know you're next, you'll make stupid decisions and put yourself in dangerous situations. You mean like when Carter's absolutely positive he's next and makes the stupid decision to unalive himself and everyone else just so it's not Death controlling his fate, but him? And when that doesn't work, he puts himself in the dangerous situation of parking his car atop a train tracks while an oncoming train barrels towards him? You mean like that? Whether you know it or not, you're way more prone to not go insane if you don't know who's next. You'd maintain a way more level head knowing it might be somebody else and not you, especially knowing you're with somebody who knows the order, and seems keen on seeing to it that nobody else has to meet their end. As the train starts to get way too close for comfort, Carter changes his mind. Too bad, so sad though, cause he is in fact next. The car won't start, the door won't unlock, his seatbelt won't unbuckle, but at the very last second, Alex manages to break him out of his seatbelt and pull him out the window before he's destroyed with his car by the train. This is a moment worth celebrating because he did it. Alex intervened and they cheated death. Billy is not in the mood to rejoice, though. He thinks they're bad luck and wants to distance himself completely from them. He's better off on his... Oof. Well, hey, now we know who was next to die after Carter. How to beat logic number 8. Make a man-made trap? This how to beat tip had me sitting at the computer staring at the screen trying to figure out what the hell he meant for longer than I care to admit. Let's just say long enough to go completely insane. I'll provide the full quote, and if anybody, and I mean anybody, understands at all what they were saying here, let me know in the comments. Or just agree it makes 0 sense so I know I'm not in fact crazy. I would make a man-made trap where you can easily save someone's life, which lets you skip the death order basically as many times as you want. Everyone should serve some time as the next person to die as long as it's not me.
What is your problem, man?
Knowing he's next on death's list, Alex holes up in a cabin that he makes every effort to freak accident-proof. After many conversations with Death and sporadic close calls, our loony hero starts to see an increased level of confidence. Death takes a break from his little list and kills that confidence, though. When Alex takes a second look at things and realizes he's not next to die, Clear is. He hurries out of the cabin to set out to save her, but the FBI shows up out of nowhere like an RKO. Alex manages to evade them in a f***ing canoe. Let me get this straight. You're FBI agents who suspect Alex of being responsible for the death of 287 people aboard Flight 180, and you let him get away in a f***ing canoe. You think he orchestrated the deaths of the survivors? Everybody all together now! And you let him get away in a f***ing canoe. At Clear's home, Death is putting on a light show for her, but neither her or her dog seem impressed. Things get more chaotic and out of hand by the second. Meanwhile, the FBI knuckleheads are now chasing Alex through the woods, and he almost headbutts a sharp, thick, protruding branch. Leave a like if you shit your pants. When he finally gets to Clear, she's stuck inside her car that's about to explode. Alex, the hopeless romantic, sacrifices himself voluntarily by grabbing the power line that refuses to get off her vehicle. Cause, well, speaking of getting off, he's wet for Clear. How to beat logic number 9. Floor mats will surely protect you. Alex warns Clear not to touch anything, even the door, cause it's metal and she'd get electrocuted instantly. The How to Beat video confidently boasts he would collect all the rubber car mats inside of the car and use them as a glove to open the door, and then as stepping blocks to avoid the ground. I had a premonition of what would happen if they took you up on this advice, and this is what I saw. Great advice, you turd Ferguson. 6 months after Alex sacrificed himself in order to intervene for Clear, we learn he's still alive. He, Clear, and Carter finally got on a plane and went to Paris. What starts off as a nice little chat at a cafe loses its warmth as Alex brings Death's list back up. He's confused because he intervened for Carter, which forced Death to jump right to Billy, and then he intervened for Clear. But nobody intervened for him. And then Alex hears it. Some French dude with a guitar singing John Denver. He notices all the things you wouldn't think to notice that could kill him in an instance, and starts to leave panicked. Clear sees the same bus sign he did stateside and cries out, which allows him to narrowly escape getting tarried. Death's domino maneuver leads to a massive 180 sign unhinged and swinging right towards him. Carter spears Alex out of harm's way at the very last second and saves the day. Guys, they did it. They beat Death. Alex and Clear have a son. Carter becomes a new man.
Mr. and Mrs. Dudley, I was just, kissing my boyfriend.
That's sweet.
They live happily ever... Just kidding. Going through the gruelingly challenging process of preventing a survivor's second tango with Death doesn't reward them with a pass. Once Death reaches the end of its list, they simply go back to the start and strike down the first person that assumed they beat the system. The list of 7 names turns into a list of 3, beginning with Carter, followed by Clear, then Alex once again, because you can't beat Death.
It's the end of the world as we know it. I feel fine.
I really hope you guys enjoyed this. If you want more like it in the future, leave a comment with the how to beat you'd like me to debunk. Until next time, hasta la vista, baby.